This is just a quick tour of my homemade ring roller. Now unfortunately I put this machine together before I started filming my projects, so unfortunately I don't have a start to finish video on it. So today I'm going to be working on a gate job, and the top part of the gate needs to be arched. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to do a quick tour of my metal roller. I built this thing approximately 10 years ago or so. This is a 110 volt right angle gear drive. I pulled that out of a scrap bin. When I used to do a lot of the scrapping, somebody had thrown a bunch of these into the bin, and I went through and I checked them all to see which ones were still functional, and that one was, so I salvaged it, and then I just hooked up a motor that I had to it, and it's 2-speed, which is nice. And that's wired into a controller here. It's got an off, low, high, and then I operate that via the foot pedal here. The motor moves up and down as one with the two outside rollers here. I have this sprocket in here because as these two outside sprockets move up, the chain can interfere with this if you get up to that tight of a bend. Bringing it down allows you to get that much higher. Now this is just a spring-loaded idler here, and the purpose of that is to prevent the chain from trying to jump a tooth under heavy load. Underneath here, to operate the vertical motion, we just have a little 4-ton bottle jack, and I modified that to be operated via the foot pedal here. To help with repeatable bends, we've got the ruler on here. Now obviously the 1, 2, 3, 4 measurements don't mean anything. Basically what you do is you make your bend. If you like what it turned out as, you make a note of it, and that's where you pump the other ones to. And I wired the release of the bottle jack up to this lever here, which you can also operate with your foot. The rollers are just based off some standard size shafting, and then I took DOM tubing and I pressed it over top of the shafts and then welded it. And these are just some regular exercise weights that had the same inside diameter, 1.5 inches, as my shafts did, and I drilled and tapped them with set screws, and they basically just work as guides. So as you can see, this inner piece that has the two outside rollers and the motor on it slides up and down in between these two outside pieces, which also house the center shaft. Now the set screws on this center shaft are what keep this top piece from separating out. But enough chit chat, let's get some metal bent up. Now I'm going to apply pressure to this. I'm not going to begin to bend it. All I'm going to do is get it in here nice and tight. Once we're rolling, then I can start to really apply pressure. But if you bend too much before you begin your roll, you'll get stuck and you won't even be able to start. Now you can see once that motor kind of starts to bog a little bit, that's where we stop. And now this is the low speed. With these rollers you always do have a little bit of waste because you have that flat section from here to here that you can't really start bending. Now this is a non-reversible motor. It would be much nicer if it was reversible. Unfortunately it is not, which means that we take the pressure off and we pull it back through. Okay, now I have this other small remnant left over from the last gate job that I did, and we're going to go ahead and use that because we have to make a side fence piece that matches the gate. we'll be using a 6-foot section out of this. So that's approximately what our arch will be. About 12 inches of arch over 6 feet. So that'd be a 2 and 12 arch. Now this roller is a perfect example of one of those tools that gets used really infrequently, but when you do need it, it's invaluable. I would liken it to the metal lathe or maybe the shop press, where you can't really mimic its function with any other tool in the shop. All things considered, it was fairly easy and affordable to produce. I think my biggest cost was the bearings and the sprockets. I saved the right angle gearbox from the scrap bin. I had the electric motor, and the metal stock I had on hand already, left over from other jobs. I've been very pleased with the function, and I haven't really ever run out of capacity. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.